Hello, everybody. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the Priyanka Neela Krishnan Show, episode 10. And today's topic is every AI agent you deploy speaks MCP and why your security stack can't hear it. Quick question. How many AI agents has your company shipped this year? Now, here's the one nobody asks. What protocol are they all running on? Because that is a good chance the answer is the same for every single one of them. It is called MCP, the Model Context Protocol, and it is quietly becoming the most important piece of infrastructure in your environment that your security team has never reviewed. I am Priyanka Neela Krishnan, and this is Enterprise Security, Episode 10. Today, we are going one layer deeper than the agent. We are going to the plumbing. Let me show you what I mean. Every agent demo you have seen this year, every co-pilot, every assistant, they look different on the surface. Different vendors, different interfaces, and different price tags. But underneath, a lot of them are speaking the same language. Claude uses MCP natively. GitHub Copilot uses it. Cursor uses it. And when your own engineering team wires up an internal agent, MCP is increasingly the default way they connect it to your tools. So, here's the thing I want you to sit with. If you have shipped even one agent into production, you have very likely shipped MCP. Most teams just do not call it that. It is invisible, and that is exactly the problem. So, what is MCP? In plain English, right? The cleanest way to describe it is the one the industry already uses. MCP is the USB C for AI. Before USB C, every device had its own cable, its own connector, its own mess. USB C made one standard plug. MCP does the same thing for AI. It is one standard way for any model to connect to any tool, any database, any service. The agent resets. The tool and the data do the work. And MCP is the connector sitting in the middle carrying messages back and forth. Anthropic introduced it in late 2024, and by early 2026, it had basically won. The major agent platforms adopted it natively. That is how fast this moved, and that speed is the whole story because the security model did not move with it. Here's the part that took me a while to fully appreciate, and it is the most important idea in this whole video. MCP is not dangerous because it moves data. Plenty of protocols move data, and we know how to secure those. MCP is dangerous because it moves influence. Let me unpack that. In a normal piece of software, the code decides what happens. The developer writes a rule, the rule runs. With an agent on MCP, the decision about which tool to call and what to send to it is made by free form natural language, interpreted by the model at runtime. The model reads text and the text tells it what to do. So, follow the logic. If an attacker can control any text the model reads, a tool description, a web page the agent visits, an email it processes, a response it gets back from an API, then the attacker can steer the agent without ever touching the code. That is a structurally new attack class. There is no clean equivalent for it in traditional security, which is why so many of the controls you already own slide right past it. Now, you might be thinking, fine, that is the theory, but is anyone actually getting bitten by this yet? Let me give you three numbers, and they're all from credible sources, not vendor hype. Number one, Researchers at Trend Micro found 492 MCP servers exposed to the open internet with zero authentication. No password, no token, just open. And number two, Git Guardian, in their State of Secret Sprawl report for 2026, found over 24,000 unique secrets, real credentials, leaked inside MCP configuration files on public GitHub in a single year. A lot of setup guides literally tell people to paste their API key straight into a config file, so they do. And number three, that is a tracked vulnerability, which is CVE 2025-6514, that scored a 9.6 out of 10 on the severity scale, which is about as bad as it gets, and it affected more than 400,000 installations of one common MCP component. So, no, this is not theoretical. The exposure is already in the wild. Here's where this lands for me. Because this is my world, every single MCP connection is an identity. Specifically, a non-human identity, a machine account, a token, a key. And the uncomfortable truth is that machine identities already outnumber your humans, and they are sitting almost entirely outside the governance you built for people. Look at the numbers. Palo Alto Networks, in their 2026 identity report, put the machine to human ratio at 109 to 1. A year earlier, it was 82 to 1. It is accelerating. Research summarized by the Cloud Security Alliance found that 97% of non-human identities carry more privilege than they actually need. And Sophos, in their State of Identity Security report, tracked 41% of successful identity breaches back to weak management of exactly these machine identities. So, when you deploy an agent, you're not just adding a tool, you're adding an identity that inherits the full authority of its credentials and uses that authority at machine speed. And if nobody owns that identity, nobody is watching it. So let me attack the concrete, because this is the part that should keep your detection team up at night. It is called tool poisoning, and it works in 3 quiet steps. Step number 1, the attacker poisons the text. They plant instructions somewhere the agent is going to read. A tool description, a document, an email, a response from an API. And step 2, the agent obeys. It treats that planted text as a legitimate instruction, and it calls a real tool using a credential it actually legitimately holds. Step 3. This is the one that gets me. The logs look clean. Your security tooling sees a valid identity performing a technically authorized action. Nothing trips, no alarm, because on paper, nothing went wrong. The identity was real, the permission was real, the only thing that was fake was the intent. Intent. And if that agent gets manipulated, the attacker inherits everything that identity is allowed to touch. Now, if you think I'm being alarmist, I want you to notice who has started paying attention. This is the part that changed my own sense of urgency. In May of 2026, the NSA AI Security Center published formal guidance on MCP. Read that again. The NSA wrote a document about a protocol that is barely 18 months old. It is not a ban and it is not a panic memo, it is measured. But the message is clear. Adoption has badly outpaced the security model. Adoption has badly outpaced the security model. Separately, an industry coalition called COSAI, working through the OASIS standards body, published an MCP security taxonomy back in January, mapping out 12 threat categories and close to 40 distinct threats. And Cisco, in their State of AI Security Report for 2026, found that only 29% of organizations feel prepared to secure their agentic AI, which means roughly 71% are shipping it anyway. The grown-ups have arrived. The question is whether your team has. Okay, I never want to leave you with just the scary part. So here's what actually helps in priority order. 4 things. Number 1, inventory it. Treat every MCP server and every connection as a non-human identity and put it on a list. You cannot govern what you cannot see, and most teams genuinely cannot see this layer today. And number 2, scope it. Least privilege per tool. An agent that needs to read one storage bucket should not be holding admin rights on the whole account. This one is boring and it is the single highest leverage you can do. Number 3, kill static secrets. Get rid of long-lived API keys. Replace them with short-lived rotating tokens and stop letting anyone paste keys into a config file, for God's sake. And number 4, gate every server. Put authentication in front of every MCP server, ideally through a gateway. No zero auth endpoints, no plain encrypted HTTP. And do those 4 things and you have closed most of the door possible. So let me bring this home. MCP is not the villain here. It is genuinely good engineering and it is a big part of why agents got useful so fast. The point is simpler than that. MCP is not the risk. The ungoverned MCP is. The same standard that made your agents powerful also made them reachable, and the fix is not to rip it out. The fix is to treat it like what it already is, an identity, an access layer, and to govern it that way. So here's the one question I want you to take into your next security review. Who owns your agent's access? And can you actually see it? If you cannot answer that cleanly, that is your next project. If this was helpful, subscribe because the rest of the series goes deeper on exactly this. I am Priyanka Neelakrishnan. I'll see you in the next one. By the way, please note, everything here is just my own opinion and analysis, not tied to or representing any employer. All right, see you.